My Gavan and Melanine, and well met indeed. I'm Eric Gallagerton, the head of Divide and Conquer, and welcome back to Divide and Conquer as we continue on as the Dwarves of Khazad-dûm. We are defending. Balin is in the fort just... yeah, High Lord Balin. No, we don't want him to control by the air. Balin is out here, over here, just here, supporting... we're attacking. Let me start again. We're attacking the orcs. Muzhur. This pitiful being has decided to trap Gnarly and the dwarves in the fort south of Khazad-dûm, and he hopes to claim us by force. So I've sent Balin round with a small force to engage and clear the enemy from the area. And we shall do that. We shall do just that. Now, I know you're all dying to know, well, obviously you're not, but I'll tell you anyway. I still haven't heard back yet about my job, and it's now Thursday. Or you're watching this on Friday. And I keep getting fobbed off with it'll be another day. Now, these things always take time. But when you're told you're the only candidate who has been interviewed for the role and they're not interviewing anyone else, and you have to wonder why it would take 1 week to decide if I'm alright. They don't even have anyone else to compare me to. Madness. So, there we are. Well, that's enough of that for this one. We can press on. There's a lot of work going on behind the scenes still, lots of testing going on, so 1.1 will be a little bit further back than anticipated, because I had rather hoped I'd do it this weekend. But I don't think that's going to be feasible. We're ironing out some kinks at the moment, so stand by. We don't want to release anything that's got already built-in bugs, because then we're going to be releasing a hotfix before you even know where you are. Right. Oh, that was too much, wasn't it? Oh, slow that down. C. Z. Right, okay, where's our ally coming in from? Our left-hand side. But we're alright to just line up and come straight at them, really, aren't we? Pop the archers behind, that's always good practice. How long do we have to wait? You have to wait as long as I told you. Archers? Damn it. Curse our short arms! Balin... Balin was in the fort. Forgive me. Here he comes in. Right, what's the enemy going to do? That'll... Now, all good strategists would suggest, really, that you should make the first move. Because then you aren't reacting to what your enemy does. They are reacting to you, and it puts the momentum of the battle in your favour. However, this is only a computer game, and a rather simple one at that. So I don't think you need to get that tactical about it, really. Also, our reinforcements over here, I'm inclined to only bring Balin along, because these are militia units, and they'll just die. Militia units always take losses, no matter how small. And this force does not concern me at all, especially given that we've got a unit of sentries and volunteers. Our Dwarven warrior unit. And the enemy has little that threatens us. A few of their units were quite highly skilled, but their units are such poor quality that it matters not, to be honest. If we can kill Guzher, as usual, and we'll get them scattering. Get them running away. But what we will do first of all, of course, is use our archers to fire as many arrows into the enemy as possible. Let's speed it up. There you are, you're in position. Stop. Oh, no, they've just moved out of your range. The jammy bastards. Alright, we'll bring the whole party on. Step up. There is a button that lets you change the way your units are facing as well, but I can't remember what one it is. Shoot them. Dwarves, begin fire! I have to wait for the next round to follow the arrows in. We will do. Just wait. Ping! There we go. Oh, and you missed. What a rubbish one to view. Let's go over there. Oh, to the question somebody asked, I've got a few questions I can talk about actually. First and foremost, someone called a name that's witty and clever, but I can't remember what it is. I, of course, disdain silly names on the internet. I'm boring, I'm afraid. Dull and boring. And I like simple names, no numbers, no hyphens, none of that nonsense. No messages in your names, just a name. But anyway, somebody posted twice about giving Dunland trolls. And they... back this up with some, I would say, weak evidential proof that the Dunlendings would be able to train trolls, and they were suggesting that merely the presence of hillmen in some of the hill regions, they might strike up alliances with the trolls. Ergo, the trolls would then fight with them. But I'm afraid it just doesn't work like that. The trolls are kind of like wolves. And not the kind of wolves that the orcs get with them, like the wargs. They're a different thing. They're kind of like wolves in that they defend their territory and that's it. They aren't intelligent enough to strike a deal with humans. The Dunlendings won't be able to talk to them and say, if you join us, we'll give you plenty of people to kill. There's none of that going on. It would be purely defensive in nature. The trolls would attack anyone that came near them, including Dunlendings. So, no, there's never going to be hill trolls, I'm afraid. Also, I saw somebody say something that I've now completely forgotten. Oh, it's because I started talking about the hill troll thing. What did they say? What did they say? What did they say? What did they say? Oh, I can't remember. It's gone. It's gone out of my mind. Oh, no, it hasn't. It's right in front of me. You asked what keyboard did I get? Because I just bought a new one. Well, yeah, because I owe Jess for it, but I did just buy a new one. And I got a Steel Series Apex 350. Now, I bought it in game, in a dwindling shop that I can't imagine is going to last much longer. But I bought it in game, and it cost 60 English pounds, which is about, I think, about $80, $90, something like that. Whatever the exchange rate is at the moment, I don't know. And it's doing very, very well. My previous one was a Logitech G510S, which is no longer available, I'm afraid, apart from through eBay, where it's like 160 quid because there's none left. Right, the enemy is finally moving in. We can finally attack. I wasn't going to push the attack on them, to be honest. I was kind of hoping they'd attack us, because not only will we get the hill advantage, but we'd get the Dwarven just general advantage in defending. Dwarves are excellent defenders. But I will actually resume my original plan, and I will leave these behind. So, shoot at those, because they're easy to kill with arrows, hard to kill in melee. Fire whilst you can. The orcs are coming. Assemble faster! Gonna need you more like over here as well. Turn to face. Archers, pull out. No, what are you doing? What are you doing? Run away! Run away! You daft buggers. Look at them trying to run across our own line. What on earth are they trying to accomplish? Stupid is what they are. They're bloody stupid. Right, lads, hold the line. Barlin's here, so we can Orn Habub if we need to. Nothing stands taller than the might of the dwarves. There are 21 mountain orc hunters, and if I remember rightly, they had quite a high experience level, which could prove devastating, unfortunately, because they already have a high attack, and the experience level increases your morale and attack. So an already strong unit has just been boosted even more. But if we can get Barlin involved, fire at their archers. Because you're not good enough, really, to take arrow fire. You need to give it back as well. Barlin, come and get involved. On Hobab! How are you guys doing? There are 28 of them, and there are 16. Oh, they really are doing well against us, aren't they? Where's the general? There he is. Oh, he has a sword that he holds with two hands. Oh, bugger, they've sent in the orc bodyguards to assist. Curses! Time to come off defense. Get more involved. T, Y. R, I, U. No, they're the wrong way around. Bugger. Bugger me. Come on, Gnarly, don't give up. The Mountain Orc Hunters are down to 9. But the engineers have arrived. Now, oh, they took down 2 of those straight away in the charge. Well done. Because remember, the engineers are our worst units. Also, somebody in one of the comments even suggested that the dwarves should have an increased unit roster. The dwarves of Khazad-dûm have too small a roster. It's one that I'm shaking my head. I mean, you can't see because I'm not in the... I don't even own a camera, but I'm shaking my head at this suggestion. How many times do we have to tell you all that the game has a unit cap? We are very nearly at said cap, and we can't just add units just because you don't think there's enough variety. Also, units and their stats is actually the biggest effect on balancing that there is. Now, a team member who we had a very, very long time ago now, it was called Desenius. And he overhauled the stats of every single unit in the game, and it proved to us quite substantially that unit stats were the biggest balancing factor. And if a certain army had amazing units and could get them readily, then they would always be beating other nations. So the general stats and the way they'd interplay with the costs was actually the best way to balance the game on the campaign map. Now sadly, Desenius didn't like any at all form of variation. Every single unit had to conform to his idea of what the units should be, and there was zero variation. And this eventually led to him leaving because I overruled him on quite a few points, and I don't think he liked it. So eventually he left, and as many modders do, in a bit of a huff. But that doesn't mean that he didn't change the whole way I think of the campaign, and had a very big impact on DaC as a whole. So we do thank him for that. I mean, it was a good couple of years ago now, but he just wasn't for any unit variety, and it really annoyed me. The turning point was the Lebanon Guardsmen and Marines. The Lebanon Guardsmen and Marines, I always wanted to be a slightly stronger unit for their level than you would otherwise get. So they're the best militia unit that Gondor can get between the two units, the Lebanon units. And that was what I always intended them to be. And but because of his rigid structure, they shared exactly the same stats with the militia units, and I mean exactly the same stats. So the Gondor militia, the Lebanon Marines, and the Lebanon Guardsmen were three identical units, despite the fact that one had the only difference being, of course, that one had a shield. So the Lebanon Guardsmen and the Gondor militia both had shields, and that was reflected in their stats. But other than that, they were identical, and it was like, what's the point of these two units? What's the point of having different units if they have identical stats and they're on the same team? But he didn't I don't know. He didn't agree with that, and he kept them at the same stats. So I subtly changed everything, and he didn't like it, and eventually he left. But as Hummingbird, I hope would suggest that I'm normally open to any ideas really, and welcome to discussion. But he was just so single-minded in his view. And there are a few remnants actually in the files. You'll never see them in the game, but in the files there are a few remnants of his work left over, where certain units are called things like heavy militia or men-at-arms, things like that, like a little note next to their unit entry. And those things were purely... We're never going to catch those archers, so we'll come back. Those things were his denomination, so he went through the whole file before he edited any stats, and he assigned every unit to a certain category. And regardless of whether or not they were Dwarven, Elven, Orcish, Human, or what, they would all conform to his categories, and his category system was fundamentally flawed, as it gave no opportunity for variation. Anywho, we're about to win, or I hope we're going to win soon. So I've pulled the archers back. We'll get them involved in melee because we're never going to chase those down. We might just have to let them shoot us, which is always annoying. But right, none of you please be on defense. Really get your teeth stuck into the enemy here. See how many of the militia we've lost? Loads of them. How many of the sentries have we lost? Barely any. How many volunteers? Virtually none. Oh, the enemy's severely weakened in strength. Balin.
Good tidings. The enemy general lies dead.
Ah, Khazâd's been killed.
Car to hell.
Everything is now running away. If we just rush those, do you think they'll just break and flee? The sentries run out, come to the top of the hill. We won't bother using you. What we need to work out is who are they attacking. Probably Balin, I would have thought. Yes, they are shooting Balin. So we just surround them.
The enemy
yes!
the field. This is a clear
yes!
victory.
Sod off, you daft buggers. 237 soldiers lost by the Honourable Gnarly. 931 orcs have just paid with their lives. 240 from the Dwarven volunteers. Well done, gentlemen. Now, Big Pollet, before you come and post on this video that everyone's lives matter and can I stop talking about orcs in such a bad way, one has to ask if it's lonely in the alternative club that you reside, and whether or not the fact that you're the sole member of the Let's Be Alternative for the sake of being alternative, whether that gets to you in any way. Although I appreciate it's all just a laugh, isn't it?
A proud victory.
He didn't lose any men, which is good. And Gnarly, where did we bring you from? Ah, you are from Eastern Khazad-dûm. And you're moving too slowly for my liking there. How are we doing elsewhere? Well, Lord Blaine is about to arrive in Baruk, supported by Captain Darlin. Ah, it sounds like his name's Darlin, doesn't it? You're right, Darlin. Let's hope that you're promoted, darling, because that's a great name. And in the town of Baruk, village rather, we will leave something behind and we'll head out. Let's leave behind the 19 of those. I'll tell you what I am going to do is I'm going to write it down. I should have opened the book already, actually. It's where I write all the names. I am going to add the Dragonslayers, because I don't think they actually currently are available for KD. But I'm going to add them to KD. Just in case you do get all the way to the Grey Mountains, then you finally have something for it. Because Erebor might be absolutely written off the map, so you could be the last hope for the dwarves, and if that is the case, then you want something to happen when you get there.
No fool, send your emissary to me.
Also, with reports and something I've seen from my own games, and I'd kind of made up my mind before El Monstero reported it in the testing group, but I'm going to try and limit the number of diplomats. Now, my hope... let me just end the turn as well, actually, make sure that we're not doing... Oh, no, hold on. We can build some stuff. Ah, but aren't we not building anything because we're waiting for the mines? So we'll continue waiting for the mines. Oh, what mines can you build? Mining network, which will get us 275. That will get us 1,950. No, it's well worth waiting. And our finances will be less. That's because he's outside. Bugger. But we'll end the turn anyway. What I'm going to try and do... Apologies, the turn times are probably going to be slow again, I'm afraid. And I just can't get to the bottom of why. But my hope is to limit the amount of inns you're going to be able to build. And what I'm going to try and do, I think I can do it. I'll have to do some research. Because you can tell a building within the gaming files, you can tell it to only be available if another building exists. So, for example, the blacksmith at the moment requires you to build the very first level of farming before the blacksmith becomes available. Now, I'm hoping that by that logic, you might be able to tell a building to check if a building exists, and if it does exist, to not build. So that's what I'm going to try and do. And what I'm going to try and do is limit every single faction in the game to a single inn structure. I'll change its name so that it's no longer called an inn. But obviously the inn in the base game serves one purpose. It allows you to train spies. However, in DaC, it allows you to train diplomats as well. So what I'm going to try and do is limit this building to one per faction. And it'll upgrade in the standard way that it upgrades in the whichever town you build it in. And then that will then allow you to only gain, I'm thinking 3 diplomats at the moment, and so you'll only be able to get 3 diplomats, full stop. So the AI will not be able to flood the map with diplomats. This is my hope. Barlin's just been given his message. Oh, that's...
An honor,
he fights the Balrog, doesn't he? I don't want to do that. So we're not going to be able to build these mines anytime soon. I'm tempted to build something else in their stead. Because we're only earning about 800 gold per turn. It's going to take like 3 turns just to get the gold together to build the mines that we need.
We shall slaughter them, sire. My king, move out. We've marched our limit. My king.
Yeah, because I'm going to take all of them with him.
Onward.
I'm not going to empty the west. It's too risky.
Aye, my liege.
I don't know. Well, he has to stand there for 2 turns, doesn't he? So, and then the Balrog comes, and the Balrog will almost certainly crash the game, and I will almost certainly once again cheat my way through the Balrog victory just because I'm
closing in the enemy.
I've always had problems with the Balrog in my game, and I can't imagine today is going to be any different. And we are about to start losing money, so I am going to build roads to counter that. We'll have to build the mines whenever we can, which will be in time. But anyway, that's one of the things I'm thinking of doing, limiting the diplomats, because the AI floods the map with them and it just becomes a right nightmare. And so I'm going to try and limit them. Now, if I can't limit a building by double-checking that another building is built, and I don't want to do it through a script before anyone who can script jumps in, particularly I'm looking at you, Scrape, if you're listening. I don't want this done via a script because I'm fairly certain that part of the reason the turns are slowing down are because of our scripts. Because the only difference between Moss and DaC was always that Moss had loads of scripts, DaC had like none. But we've gained a few here, like they're minor ones, but they're here and there throughout our running. And I just can't figure out why this would suddenly slow down. And it's happened on 2 different machines now, and this computer's brand new. And I know many of you have posted things before to tell me how to speed up the game, but I must confess I knew every single one of them. So that's not the factor. So
The enemy has surrounded us.
it just bothers me, and I wonder if it is script related. And I don't like the idea of DaC having lots of scripts. That was never DaC's thing. It should have just been units and factions. Now, I can't bring myself to auto-resolve, so I am going to fight the last fight of these Dragonslayers. In which, in fact, is going to be a great name.
Stand victorious!
KD6. The last Dragonslayer.
Our foes appear to be gaining the upper hand in this battle.
Of course they are. We're outnumbered about 1,000,000 to 1. Start battle, it makes no odds. Oh, he just grunts at us. That's good. He's got his little dwarven captain. And 2 Aethode. Look at that. 2 men of the Aethode have come down to lend their support.
They shall fear the sight of our beams.
How best do we want to do this? Oh, they're not coming down here. What? I'm cautious that the Dunherd champions can throw javelins. Let's put them into shield wall. No! They did throw javelins. Only 1 wave, though. Only 1 wave. Get involved, lads. Come on.
Pray something changes.
Oh dear, 2 of the Bjornings have already gone down.
Almost certain.
Course defeat's almost certain.
Our foolish general has thrown his life away, and perhaps our chances of victory.
Look at the
with
Dragonslayers carving into those Dunlending warriors. There are 16 of them left. They've formed a circle around their dead brothers. They've killed like 50 of those warriors so far alone.
Pray something change. We have lost half our men.
We've killed almost 25% of them with 16 Dragonslayers. This is what happens when you get units with high experience. And the last men are going down. There's one there.
Horses!
There's one with his back to the wall.
Taken control of our army is tiring.
There's another in the center there.
Lost control of the city.
Now, because of the way that officers and banner carriers work, despite the fact that this is a mere banner carrier, they always take on the stats of the unit they are attached to. The only thing where this doesn't apply is generals units. General units are always an independent individual unit. They don't take on the stats of their unit. So, for example, if the Dragonslayers, if it doesn't one of the Erebor generals have Dragonslayers as his bodyguard, well, the actual general, the 1 man on the battle map that denotes that general, he won't have the stats of the Dragonslayers, and he'll be greatly affected by traits and ancillaries. But captains, officers, not captains, sorry, they follow the same rules. Officers and banner carriers, they do take on the stats of the unit they are attached to. So, for example, with Angmar, the Ruidour swordmen are the officers for every single unit. So when they're the officers for the Guardians of Khazad-dûm, they're the equivalent of Guardians of Khazad-dûm. And when they're the officers for the snagger units. They are the equivalent of snagger units. So in this case, that banner carrier is actually as good as a Dragonslayer of Ered Mithrin. Now, having said that, actually, I think that captains and generals do take on the stats of the unit they're with. Because I can't imagine where else they would get their stats from. Oh, we've just lost, but that's alright, we're thinking. I can't imagine where else their stats would be generated. And now I know their stats are edited by traits and ancillaries. 102. The Dragonslayers got 102 and there were 19 of them. 19, 5, 20, 100. That's about the equivalent of each man killing 5 men. Which is outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. I'm not too bothered that they've got Baruk. It's a crappy village. It's not got walls. It brings nothing to us other than, I mean, it has got the mines, but it's very minor in its use. And we can easily sweep back in and take it. The real prize, and to dent Dunland, because they can't train much from Baruk, we need to take their cities in the centre, Dundarak and Dunyard. And ideally push them back to the Grey Flood. If we can kick them back as far as the Gwathlo River, then we're laughing. Oh, that's not the Balrog. I thought that was when the Balrog comes. Oh no, and there's Gandalf. Or Tharkoon the Grey, but he's not actually involved. Interesting. Clear victory! What happens now? Is that it? It becomes our turn. Sorry I didn't fight that battle. I wanted to see if we still had our outrageous strength from auto-resolving. Oh, we've just gained Gandalf, who spawns with just a unit of Zenith Guard. Is that it?
Noble sire, joining our forces.
So when does the Balrog come?
I'm gonna stick you.
Oh, losing Baruk had a way more prominent
Lord.
effect on our finances than I first thought.
Command me, my king. An enemy to crush. Aye, Lord.
You go over in that fort. We'll use you in a minute. The enemy should rout in and focus on us, so we'll keep you alive for now.
Aye, my liege.
Now, I think that there may be some fundamental flaw with the Balrog script, as Gandalf has spawned, but the Balrog wasn't part of that army. I can't now see the Balrog. We've got no message saying Gandalf has spawned. But at least, I mean, it works, obviously. I mean, this campaign is evident of that. Evidential proof before your eyes that Khazad-dûm works. But there does seem to be one or two little glitches here and there. We'll look into those later on. It works enough for 1.1 to still go. But I think I'll end that there, actually. So, thank you very much for watching, if indeed you have. I hope you've enjoyed all the little tidbits about the mod background that I've told you, the things that we're hoping to implement for 1.1, the delay in 1.1. There's always delays, that's why we never give dates. Also, of course, stay tuned for something. Stainless Steel. Should you continue watching that. And then I will finish off that Heroes of Might and Magic 5 video on Sunday. But then I think I'm going to make Sunday a bit of a break day for a while. It's in the run-up to Christmas. So, apologies for that, but there we are. And I'll look to do the Melkor video when I can in time. But for now, and until we speak again, dear friends, Navar Naden Pedimad Melunin, and farewell.